This Blueprint series video will be deep diving into the Twitch integration nodes built into Warudo. We'll cover each node and their outputs, as well as discussing things that can be implemented for each node. For almost all Twitch integration nodes, they will only have outputs, so we won't have to worry about inputs much. In the onboarding assistant, which should appear with every newly created scene, you can select the streaming platform you're using, and Warudo will give you the option to generate pre-made blueprints depending on your selection for interactions that happen on the platform. These blueprints include throwing items, spawning stickers, and launching liquid. But if you're looking to do other things besides what's already made, let's take a look at each node that comes with the Twitch integration. Going over to our node editor, we're going to scroll down until we find the Twitch section for nodes. The first node that we're going to look at is on Twitch channel follow. This node is fairly simple to use with only two data outputs, one being username and the other being user display name, which are both strings. An example of something that can be done with this node is using the workshop plugin called Text Assets and Accessors. By next time 000, we can throw the name of the person who follows at our character. The next node that we'll be looking at is on Twitch channel message. This node has several more outputs than the previous, so let's go down the list. We start with the same data outputs as before, username and user display, both strings, but now we have another string that is message, which represents the actual message that is sent in a chat. Next we have a boolean, is subscriber, along with subscribe months count, which is an integer. And the last three data outputs all being boolean, is broadcaster, is moderator, and is VIP. Warudo gives a lot of filtering ability to what can be done for messages sent in chat. The possibilities here are incredible. For example, you could use the spawn sticker node, but customize which sticker shows up depending on who sends the message in chat using a series of if branches. The next node we'll be going over is on Twitch channel points redeem. This is probably the most utilized node when it comes to customizations in Warudo when you're streaming on Twitch. Going down the list of data outputs, we start with reward title, which is a string for the name of the redeem. We next have reward cost, an integer for how many channel points the redeem costs. Then we have reward image URL, which is a string for the image that is on the channel point redeem. Next we have reward background color, which is a color data type to represent the color behind the image of the channel point redeem. And then username and user display name, two strings that we see very often, along with user input. So if there is a channel point redeem that has people type messages into it, this is where we would get that information. There are already plenty of channel point redeems ideas out there that you can find here, Twitch, TikTok, so I'll leave that up to you to go find. Next, we have on Twitch channel raid with three outputs. We have the raider username, raider display name, both strings, similar to username and display name that we've seen in others, along with raider view count, which is an integer. One example of using this node would be utilizing the already made throw items blueprint Warudo provides, but having the amount of items thrown come from the raider viewer count. Moving on to the monetary items, we'll start with on Twitch channel bits received. We here have username, which is a string we've seen before. We then have a boolean for is anonymous, which provides the true and false for if the person donating the bits decided to put their name to it. Following, we have the string message, so if there's a message included for the cheered bits. Then we have two integers, bits used, so the amount of bits in that specific cheer, along with total bits used, which is the amount that person has cheered in total. This one is my personal favorite for the throwing items blueprint Warudo provides, and then modifying what item is thrown if you don't want to be pelted by stuffed animals, for example. You could also set up actions for a specific amount of bits cheered, or do a celebratory dance when someone reaches a certain amount of total bits cheered. Going to our biggest one, we have on Twitch channel subscribe. Starting with our two strings, username and user display name, which is the person who is purchasing the subscription, we then move to a boolean is gift, which filters if this is a gift sub or a sub for the person who has purchased it. In the case of a gift sub, we then have two more strings for recipient name and recipient display name. And then we have the subscription plan, which is its own data type specifically used with another node, Twitch subscription plan equals. I'll go to that node for a second just so we see what's in it. So switching over to that node, there are two inputs which both take a subscription plan that can either be Prime, Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3, and then a Boolean output to check if the subscription plan matches what you set it to be. This allows different interactions to happen depending on what tier subscription you get. Now moving back over to our on Twitch channel subscribe. After subscription plan, we have month count, an integer, for the current number of months the subscription is for. So if this is the 14th month they've been subscribed, this is the number you'd get. We then have cumulative months, so the amount of months in total this person has been subscribed. Taking our 14-month example, if this is their 14th month, they could have been subscribed for 16 months total. And then lastly, we have streak months. So this would be their 14-month streak, meaning they've been subscribed for 2 months. There was some break where they did not resubscribe, and then they resubscribed again after that break and have been on a 14-month streak. With the amount of outputs this node has, there's heavy customization options available for the user to play around with. If you're getting bits and subs, it's only natural we go into the next 3 nodes related to hype trains. Starting with on Twitch hype train begin, which just has an integer for the level the hype train starts at between 1 and 5. We then have on Twitch hype train progress, which has 2 outputs, an integer for the level, again being 1 through 5, and then a float for the progress, which would be between 0 and 1. So if you're at 50% on a level 2 hype train, you would have the 2 coming out of level, and the progress would be 0.5 because it's between 0 and 1. Lastly, we have on Twitch hype train end, which uses the integer level, the float progress, as well as a boolean for is completed, yes or no. Our last node in the Twitch section is on Twitch channel whisper. I don't believe that people really use the Twitch channel whispers anymore, but in the off chance that you do, here are the outputs for it. So we have username, user display name, 2 strings, along with message. While you probably wouldn't want to display the message of a whisper, you could have a node that plays a sound to alert you when you receive one. And that covered all of the Twitch nodes. Hopefully this video helped familiarize you with the options Warudo has when it comes to interacting with Twitch. If this tutorial helped you, leave a like and let me know what else you'd like for me to cover in Warudo. Thanks for watching. Bye bye!